All right, team. Welcome to 2023. It is January 1st. It is New Year's Day. God bless you all. God bless America. And God bless 2023. I'm wishing you guys extreme success, as I like to call it, face-ripping success for the next year. I want to first start off the live stream. So we're in a little bit of a different place, actually. We are broadcasting live from the front of the Pace University building. Yes, this is Pace University. Fantastic school, by the way. Expensive school, but fantastic nonetheless. A lot of smart kids go here. Now, I had the idea. I'm like, all right, January 1st, first day of the new year, I'll take the team over the Brooklyn Bridge. Well, turns out I wasn't the only one who had that idea. The place is mobbed. It's like a zoo. We'll try to do it. If we can't, no big deal. 2023, we'll press on. You can see in the distance the beautiful One World Trade Center, the Freedom Tower. We'll see who's in the live chat, and then we will get started. I see my friend Julia M, Mike Skate TV, what's up? Ruby Falcone, Perry Willick, welcome. Melissa White, Sunshine After Rain. Juan Carlos says, Tom, Happy New Year's from Honduras. Happy New Year's to you too. Hopefully you had many people. Hermes Addict, good to see you, says Happy New Year. Hopefully you had a fantastic one. Perry Willick, Susanna Q4, Wendy England. Now, today is Sunday, so normally we would have our stock market a look ahead live stream where we would cover all of the major events, breaking news, corporate earnings, things like that coming up in the week ahead on Wall Street. But today's New Year's Day, and tomorrow is actually a day off. The markets will be closed. The fixed income market as well as the equity market will be closed, so no trading tomorrow. It is New Year's Day observed. So I'm sure many of you in the chat will probably have off as well. We're going to be exploring, taking a walk down Wall Street. I'm going to show you guys outside of the New York Stock Exchange. We'll take a look at the favorite Christmas tree in New York City, which is outside of Wall Street. Tyree is here, says, hey Tom, what's up Tyree? Good to see you. Tang M, welcome. The Investigator, good to see you, my friend. The Investigator, Happy New Year to you. Thank you for joining us on New Year's Day in Manhattan. Wishing you and your family peace in the new year. Mac Lover says, hey Tom, Happy New Year's Day. Thank you, Mac Lover. I appreciate it. Hopefully you had some interesting and fun parties and events to attend last night. Speaking of interesting and fun events, I want to thank everybody who came out to ring in the new year with us. It was a crazy, crazy stream. There was so many people. It was packed. We had people tuning in from all over the world, so I greatly appreciate it. It was kind of cool to see people from all over the world tuning into that live stream. So thank you, everybody, for ringing in the new year here with Walks in Wall Street. It's a little bit windy out tonight, but it's actually quite nice. It's probably at 50 degrees. Not for nothing, it feels like a spring day. Pretty good. Ruby Falcone, welcome. The Investigator says Happy New Year, Walks in Wall Street. To be honest, I'm ready for Miami. I'm actually ready for it too, man. Now, I should be back there, I'm not gonna say next week, but probably the week after, which I'm actually really looking forward to. Beautiful shot of the One World Trade Center, the Freedom Tower here. I know Richard Vogel says, what a difference from last night. And that's sort of why I wanted to start off the stream down in Lower Manhattan to sort of get out of the crowds. I think we had our fair share of crowds for this holiday season for sure. Marciam says, last night was fun. Thank you so much for braving the crowds. Thank you. Evan Weeks, yeah, it was wild, but it's nice to sort of come back down to reality. Has anybody experienced that maybe today when you woke up? Now, I love the holidays, don't get me wrong. Absolutely love the holidays, but I woke up and I'm like, you know what? It's kind of nice that the holidays are dying down. And I don't know, here's another shot of the One World tonight. Ruby Falcone, Gary Carpenter, Matthew M. Welcome. Good to see you, Matthew. Thanks for joining us. Now, this coming up week actually is going to be a pretty busy week on Wall Street. We're going to go in depth, in detail tomorrow, obviously, when we do the Markets a Look Ahead live stream. But as we talk about leading indicators or leading economic indicators, we're actually going to get a major one coming out on the 2nd, or the 3rd, excuse me. And that is the Institute for Supply Management PMI numbers, the Purchasing Managers Index. The investigators just walks from Wall Street. Did you get the munchies from all that smoke? Yeah, we were catching some secondhand smoke there in Midtown. And indeed I did. Everybody was smoking. It was crazy last night. It was nuts. Here's another shot outside of Fulton Street Station. I'm excited to walk all the way down Broadway past Zuccotti Park. And we'll check out the Mighty Bull and Wall Street, New York Stock Exchange. Ann is here. This is Tom. I think the title should be 2023. Oh, I may have forgotten to change it. That's hilarious. Yeah, I may have forgot to change the title. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of back in the day when my high school days, every time you would come back from, Christmas break, you would constantly write on your papers the year before, and then you'd have to scribble it out for like the next 2 weeks. Has anybody else done that? I used to do that all the time. It would take me about 2 to 3 weeks to actually put the correct date. So all of my papers would be massive scribbles, changing it from 2015 to 2016. That's funny. It's hilarious. Hey, Glass 88 says, hey from Pakistan, Happy New Year. Good to see you. Thank you so much, Glass 88. Welcome. Sally is here. GGMYC. Happy New Year to you. We're here crossing John Street. We're about to pass Zuccotti Park, which was the main staple for the Occupy Wall Street protests, actually. I know, the investigator, right? Hilarious. Yeah, Robert's like, we all did that DM. Funny. Well, you know what I think I'm going to do tomorrow? I actually made a note of it. Oh, you can actually see the moon is out tonight. I'm not sure if it's quite the full moon, but tomorrow I actually made a note of it. I'm going to try to get to Best Buy, or maybe B&H, but B&H is probably closed tomorrow for New Year's Day observed. And I'm going to buy a mic. I'm going to buy a microphone. I think we should start off 2023 with a mic. I think that would be best suited for the channel. John is here. Hey, Pup, what's up? Says, I do that at work now. Yeah, good to see you, Pup. DM Robert, welcome. Susanna.
What's your handle?
We're Walks on Wall Street on YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, how do I find you? Sorry.
You can just look it up on YouTube. We do a live stream.
Okay, yours is the first thing that shows up?
Yeah, it should be up there. Walks on Wall Street, yeah.
Walks on Wall Street? Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
Happy New Year, man. Take it easy. All right, we're crossing Maiden Lane. You know, Maiden Lane there used to be the Department of Investigations for New York City right on Maiden Lane. My friend actually used to work there. And I actually convinced my friend to get out of working for the government and go work in the private sector. I'm glad he took that advice. Talk about a massive pay raise there. ATC, what's up? Says, good evening, everybody. Welcome, ATC. Hopefully your 2023 is off to a fantastic start. Ah, yes, War Walker, correct. And a mic mitten to hide the wind. I know, Ethan G says, hey Tom, I can't believe the holidays are ending. Time flies. I'm almost kind of relieved though that they're kind of over. Holidays were fantastic. I had a lot of fun. But I think it's time to move on. I'm very excited for the new year, holidays to kind of die down. Now, we're looking at Zuccotti Park, and I always bring this up every time we pass this park because there's an economist by the name of Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff is the founder and the owner, CEO of Euro Pacific Capital, Euro Pacific Bank. And if you guys remember correctly, the main, I would say, hub that kicked off the Occupy Wall Street protest was right here on the corner of Liberty Street and Cedar. And there's a fantastic documentary. It's like a mini docu-series. Oh, check out this dog. The docu-series is by Reason TV. And it is I Am the 1% by Peter Schiff. Really fantastic, very educational. I see Vinny Castellano. Happy New Year, Vinny. Thanks for being here. Hey, Julie M. says, Tom, my birthday is on Thursday, and I'm going to see Jim Gaffigan. He's an amazing comedian. Wow. I've never heard of him. I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and I'm going to look him up. But happy birthday to you, Julia M. That's kind of cool to have a birthday so early in the new year. That's awesome. Wishing you a fantastic birthday. Julia M., if you look at this building right down here, this is the Federal Reserve. Oftentimes we talk about the good old Federal Reserve on the channel as it relates to monetary policy and the like. Iris Liu, indeed, happy early birthday. Richard Vogel, good to see you. Hey, Dan Zangs, is pretty courageous of him to do that. You could tell that he was outsmarting the protesters he was arguing, yes. Yeah, and I think the interesting thing about it, though, Dan, of that particular, I would say, mini docu-series is I think a lot of the Occupy Wall Street protesters have a lot more common ground than I think we think, but I think they're just blaming the wrong person, right? Because they have every reason to be upset about what happened during the great financial crisis, or I would even say leading up to it. But we sort of need to address the root cause and the root problem. Yes, did the investment banks act irrationally, and I would even go as far to say unethically? I would say absolutely, right? So everybody was upset at the major investment banks for being greedy. But us as American citizens actually funded the bailout. So many people were blaming capitalism and capitalistic greed for the financial crisis, but it was actually quite the opposite. It's crony capitalism that is the issue. It is corporatism and corporate socialism, right? Socializing. Essentially, if you backstop all the losses, you don't develop, or you take the main risk-taking element of capitalism out, right? So if the investment banks, really quick, this is Trinity Church right on the corner of Wall and Broadway. Very famous church here. Beautiful at that. But if you send the signal to the free market that you could take egregious risk, and if you blow up, you're going to get bailed out and you'll still get your bonuses, well, what lesson is there to be learned, right? There's no lesson. It's a never-ending perpetual cycle, right? So I guess the theory there, the argument, I guess that Peter Schiff was making, is that capitalism would have let the banking system fail, would have let all of these Wall Street bankers go bankrupt, but instead we decided to bail them out. All right, so this is the corner of Wall and Broadway, and this is actually kind of cool because they finally took all the scaffolding down here. But it's kind of weird. In New York, it's sort of like a hide and seek with scaffolding. As one massive amount of scaffolding goes down, another pops up. So all the scaffolding is down outside of the stock exchange, but then the scaffolding is going to be up for 10 years outside of the Federal Hall, which we'll show you guys in a minute. But I want to get more of a centered shot for you guys of Trinity Church now that the Christmas lights are still up. Hey, DowJones.eth, what's up? Dow Jones, how was the Fish concert, my friend? I saw some photos on Twitter. MSG looked on fire. Hopefully you had a good time. Evan Weeks, is last I heard, New York City was looking to cut down on the scaffolding problem. Yeah, I think, well, obviously they have to say that, but in my view, the reason why we have such a big problem with all the scaffolding is because, let's say if something is wrong with the building, the landlords, or I should say the owners of the buildings, don't necessarily have to make the necessary repairs. They could just leave the scaffolding up outside of the building because it'll then bring it up to code. And that's happening a lot on the Upper West Side, so much so that tenants are actually petitioning and suing and making civil suits against landlords and things like that. Here we have one of the main entrances to the New York Stock Exchange, still closed off to pedestrians after all these years. You know, I think it's appropriate now to take this gate, this one right here, and remove it. I think just as long as you have these big, I would say, half concrete, half metal barriers, I think that's good enough. But then again, I'm no security expert, but finally all the scaffolding is down outside of the stock exchange. Here we are. Hey, Al Baker, what's up? Sometimes, right? So many times if a building, because some of the buildings are so old in Manhattan, right? Think about the ones on the Upper West Side. And think about Federal Hall, right? These are hundreds of years old, quite literally. So they can have, let me try to give you guys a good example for a visual. So you see a lot of the moldings, I guess you could call this. I don't know the exact word for it. But some of them are so old that the bricks in the concrete could actually break loose and fall, or be at risk of falling on a pedestrian. And obviously that can happen. So it's going to cost a ton of money for building owners to repair that. So as a temporary fix, they'll just throw scaffolding up there, but they'll keep it pretty much forever. There's some really good articles in the New York Times about this. They did actually sort of like a mini case study as it relates to many of the buildings on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Some of these buildings have had scaffolding for 5, 6, 7 years. This particular building here, Federal Hall, which is one of the most famous buildings in New York City, by the way, this is where George Washington was inaugurated. This scaffolding is going to stay here for 10 years, which is kind of a bummer because look at how gorgeous the building is. Hey, Lena Sandoval, what's up? Good to see you. But here's the real reason why I wanted to come down to Wall Street, because we have the best Christmas tree in the entire New York City right here, right outside the New York Stock Exchange. I think this is my favorite shot. Let me see if we could back up a little bit so I can get the Christmas tree and the exchange all in one shot. Hey, Ryan Beck is here. Happy New Year. Good to see you. Wendy England says, yeah, Tom, no scaffolding all over Europe. Free Time is here. Ryan Iglesias says, Tom, how was the subway ride home last night after the ball drop? You know, I actually didn't go home because I was scoping out the situation and it was so crazy. In and around Pennsylvania Station or Penn Station, I was like, there's no way I'm going to brave this stuff. So I actually opted to stay in the city because it just was too much. Crowds, it was just wild. So wasn't worth it. Now, do you guys agree with me? I think we've done this poll numerous times, but I honestly think the tree outside of the New York Stock Exchange is better than the one outside of 30 Rock. It just seems very, very full. Hey, Photos from Around New York is here. DM, good to see you. The Garlic, welcome. You can see some of the ticker tape coming in and out of here. FIS is the ticker symbol for Fiserv. Obviously, GE is for GE, GM, GS, Goldman Sachs. Now, tomorrow is Monday, so you would think that the market would be open, but You would be wrong. Tomorrow is what you call New Year's Day observed. So the markets will be closed. Both the equity markets and fixed income will both be closed tomorrow. But not a lot of trading activity really goes on here anymore anyway, outside of in the New York Stock Exchange. It's mainly a TV studio and a historical site. You know, some people still think a lot of trading activity and a lot of, you know, business activity goes on in there. Not really anymore. Now there are some, you know, market makers and traders on the floor, but you can't even compare it to what it used to be now that we have electronic trading and algorithmic trading. Hey Tyree, what's up? Says, any New Year's resolutions, Tom? It's a good question. I think my biggest resolution is just to be more consistent on working a systematic process, right? So let's say if I have a goal to make, you know, X amount of money, I will write up a system. And if I work that system every single day and I'm disciplined working that system, I think I would be it's going to be a higher probability for success, I believe. So just being a little bit more disciplined to keeping with those systems and sticking with them every day. I don't know. What about you guys? Any big resolutions? Anything interesting? I'm going to try to give you guys a view of one of the Christmas bulbs with the NYSE insignia on it. Kirby says, have you been to the Museum of American Finance? I haven't, but I really, really want to go. I've never been. You're right, it is closed. It's actually, I think it's right outside of the, it's right next to the Deutsche Bank, I believe. So if you look really closely on this red bulb, you'll see it says NYSE and ICE Exchange. Hey, Frank the Tank, what's up? So the official address is 18 Broad Street. So anybody who needs to work inside the exchange obviously has to come through all of this security. Now, after 9/11, you know, they've added extra precautions because unfortunately the New York Stock Exchange is a big terror target. So there's really no more tours. You know, back in the day before 9/11, you were actually able to go in and walk around the New York Stock Exchange, but no more. Glass 88 says we're buffering. Yeah, there's a lot of tourists in the area, so we may be buffering all night. Kanar, welcome. Al Baker says my New Year's resolution is to watch more of your live streaming. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now here we have the Fearless Girl. Very famous attraction here outside of the New York Stock Exchange. I know this is Ruby's favorite. You could still see the George Washington statue if you look all the way over there, though. Now, without the scaffolding, there's actually stairs going all the way up, and I actually used to eat lunch right here almost every day. Maybe I'll be able to do that again in 10 years once the scaffolding is down. Oh, they have some Happy New Year balloons right outside of the stock exchange too. RCM, nice. I had my picture taken with the Fearless Girl when I was there in October. Awesome. Hawaii is here. What's up, Hawaii? Thanks for joining us. I wanted to give you guys one last look of the Christmas tree here outside of the stock exchange before they take it down. Now, I'm not sure the exact date they're going to take it down, but I'm not sure when we're going to get back here again, so we'll see. Now, next year, it's going to be the 100th annual tree lighting. That's going to be crazy. Maybe next year we'll actually have to go in person to the tree lighting since it's going to be the 100th. I didn't know it was the 99th. Hey Marcelo, good to see you. Happy New Year. Let's continue to walk down a little bit. Natalie says, Tom, did you find a piece of 2022 confetti? I did. I actually did. Yeah, so every year, what I try to do is get a piece of the Times Square confetti that they drop. Now, you'll still probably be able to pick up some of the confetti all the way for the next 2 weeks because it's going to be so crazy. Irish Dylan is here. What's up, Irish Dylan? Hopefully you're enjoying the final shots of the Wall Street / New York Stock Exchange Christmas tree. Richard Vogel, I think a brand new one is brought in each year. I'm not sure of the exact method though. Diana is here, says happy and healthy New Year, everybody. Thank you, Diana. I appreciate it. Well, what I really wanted to try to do today, since it's so clear out, it is a clear night, because yesterday, New Year's Eve, unfortunately, was a little rainy. I wanted to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge, but you guys got to see how many people are on the bridge tonight. It's a ridiculous amount. So I'm not sure we're going to be able to walk over there because we're probably going to be buffering the entire time. But maybe since we came down to Wall Street first, we'll actually be able to make our way to the Brooklyn Bridge. So I think that's what we should do now. But before that, since it is New Year's Day, for good luck, we're going to head straight on Exchange Place, and we got to see the Mighty Bull. I think that is I think it will turn into a Walks on Wall Street tradition. We got to go see the Mighty Bull every year on New Year's Day. Hopefully it'll bring us a little bit of luck. Markets were down big across the board, not only the S&P 500, but the NASDAQ falling the most in 2022. The Dow Jones Industrial Average ending the year down 9%. One of the only indices that actually held up relatively well. Here's the famous King's College. Sleazy Easy says bull market's coming. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think that until we have a material change in monetary policy, I still think we're going to either be in a slow grind down or potentially a sideways chop. Potentially, now if you remember sort of the Stanley Druckenmiller interview at the New York Robinhood Conference, the JP Morgan Robinhood Conference, potentially we'll see some reminiscences of the 1970s stagflationary type markets where we just do a sideways, slow and brutal chop. But we'll see. We'll see. Hey, 21 Jump Street says, Tom, did you read the IMF interview about the China recession? I did not. If you have a link to it, please feel free to share it in the chat or post it on the Discord. Now, it's going to be a busy week this week because I think this is the week for me to get everything together and just sort of get back in the swing of things. Holidays are over. Time to get back to work. So, hey, Austin City Limits, what's up? Yeah, we did try it. The Prism is still not working, unfortunately. Mustafa is here. What's up? Dusty Cole, welcome. Jack S says, hey Tom, have you ever thought about taking us into one of the big churches to see inside, or would they not allow that? No, it's a good question. So I think they would allow that, but here's the thing. Usually we go live at around 8:30, and all of the churches, well, I shouldn't say all, but all the main notable ones are pretty much locked up by then. So if I ever get time during the day to stream or anything, wow, it looks like everybody else has the same idea we had. Wanted to see the Mighty Bull for the new year. So this is actually a good example. Hold on. I'll give you guys, I'll tell you exactly what I was talking about. So does anybody remember, if you rewind the stream just, I don't know, 3 minutes ago, we were looking at the Fearless Girl, the very, very famous Fearless Girl statue, right? Well, she didn't always used to be there. She actually used to be right where that sort of stop sign is that says 5 miles an hour. And you see how dangerous it gets with all the tourists overflowing into the street, cars honking and everybody getting in the way. Well, it used to be like this, but 10 times worse every single day when they had the Fearless Girl statue here. So bad, I think some people actually may have gotten hurt. They actually had to relocate her in front of the New York Stock Exchange because she was just so popular. You would have crowds of people piling all the way back up Broadway every day. Sometimes I would come, because I would go to the gym here, Planet Fitness, I would see people lined up all the way down there just to get a look at the Fearless Girl. So they had to move her. They had to relocate her in front of the exchange. And I think that's actually probably a better place because there's no vehicles allowed, no cars. Antonio is here, says, hey Tom, what's up Antonio? Happy 2023. Thank you so much for being here. Gary Carpenter, welcome. FredX, good to see you. Fairways, Tom, when the Fed tightens, there is a financial shock / crisis 100% of the time, history says. Yeah, and I think that's what we saw in 2022, especially with a lot of these high beta stocks like the SaaS stocks with very little earnings and extremely, extremely high sales multiples, trading at egregious multiples to sales. A lot of that liquidity has come out and air has come out of that bubble. Hey, Warrior 2023, good to see you. Thanks for being here. I'll try to give you guys a close as possible shot of the Mighty Bull. I hope the Mighty Bull brings everybody luck and happiness next year. Liz is, yeah, you could stand on it. I'm not sure, but I don't think really anybody minds. I think just as long as you're not vandalizing it, do whatever you want. Liz, good to see you. Thanks for being here. But I love the Mighty Bull. I actually have 2 Mighty Bulls on my desk at home in Miami. One of which a good friend of mine that I've actually met through this stream was so kind to send me one. So thank you for doing that. It really means a lot. I love collecting Mighty Bulls. All right, we got to give a Walks on Wall Street New Year's Day Mighty Bull rating. Okay, out of 10. I think I got to go with the full score. I think we got to bang on with the full 10 out of 10 for free markets, for opportunity, for free market capitalism. 11 out of 10? All right, I accept that. Ryan Beck, that's actually really funny. So I'll give you an idea of how many people are here to see the bull for the new year. Hey Antonio, what's up? DM Austin City Limits. I hope everybody's New Year's off to a fantastic start. Mine is. I woke up, I took all of my papers, I went to a good coffee shop here in the city, and I just sort of took some time to read, relax, and reflect. Tom G, Josie is here. What's up, Josie?
Do you want to touch the bull?
The little girl's like, the guy's like, do you want to touch the bull? She's like, no, I want to sit on it. I don't blame her, dude. I really wish I was live streaming at that time when they had the Fearless Girl right there. There was so many people here every day, overflowing into the street. All right, one more quick look at the bull, and then we are out of here, my friends. We will press onward. We'll check it out. We'll see if we can go over the Brooklyn Bridge. If there's too many tourists, we'll abort and we'll head uptown. You know, what else can we do? I want to end the stream actually in Times Square so we could see the main ball and the numerals. But I think we got our fair share of good luck. I think we got our fair share of good luck for 2023. FaceTimes, is there a bear statue? No, there's not. There probably should be though, right? Or maybe not. I don't think it's lucky, I guess. Connor Barr, thank you so much for joining. So tomorrow, everybody, just for everybody who's just joining in, tonight, yes, it is Sunday, but it is New Year's Day. So tomorrow it is New Year's Day observed. So markets are closed, right? Monday, everybody has off. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but the majority of people probably in the chat have off. So we will be moving. Ooh, hold that thought. I never noticed this before. You guys, hold on. I'll tell you where to look. You see that little dot in the back right here? That's the top of the Chrysler building. You see that teeny dot all the way in the back? Pretty cool. Pretty cool, the Chrysler. So we'll be moving our markets, a look ahead stream, to tomorrow. But it's a very, very important week on Wall Street. We are going to be getting some interesting leading economic indicators. We will be able to update our Excel spreadsheets on Tuesday when the Institute for Supply Management releases their PMI numbers. And as you remember, what have we been talking about for the past 8 months? The PMIs have been in very, very steep decline and actually just turned into contraction. But as we know, the PMIs are essentially you're looking at the business cycle in real time. So we'll see if we get a reading under 50 again. Now, remember, the way to read this is anytime a PMI number comes in above 50, that signals expansion in the manufacturing sector of the economy. If it comes in below 50, that signals contraction. However, it's not necessarily important to look at the physical number. It's the trajectory of those PMIs. And we've been rolling over ever since last year. Here's the subway station where you can get the 4-5 trains. This is the Wall Street station, the uptown. You can take it to the uptown Bronx. I try to avoid the green lines as much as I can. I like the 2 train, the 1 train a lot better than 4, 5, 6. That takes you to the Upper East Side. Here we have a beautiful view of One World Trade Center. Karina Thompson, what's up? AM says NYC is plenty full of SUVs these days. Well, I think I may have a reason why. You see so many SUVs, like black cars, black SUVs, especially around the holidays and New Year's. For example, this one, these big Escalades. I think there's a lot of celebrities here for the musical performances for New Year's. So I think there's a lot of important and notable people, I guess, in town, and they definitely bring about their entourage. Hey, Kevin says, good evening, Tom and team. What's up, Kevin? We're just doing a walk down Wall Street. That's actually a book, A Random Walk Down Wall Street. All right, we're gonna do 2 more quick views because it's the beginning of the year. Here's another look at Trinity Church, very famous, and then we're gonna take 1 more quick peek at the very famous and I think the best Christmas tree in the city, the Wall Street tree, and then we're gonna freaking gun it to the Brooklyn Bridge. I just got to get 1 more shot of the tree. Even though we've seen it a million times, once, March, April, May comes, it's like, so far away. We got to enjoy it while it's here, I guess. Hey, Kathy Lyons, what's up? Dusty Cole, Sabrina Fair, Happy New Year. Good to see you, Sabrina. Now, right in this building here, right here, I think this is 14 Wall Street. One of my clients used to be right in there. They were what you call a wage parity broker. Probably many of you don't know what that is, but that's all right. Very good clients of mine. Hey, Young Nation 92. This is Tom. How are you, sir? Happy to be on the stream. Thank you so much, Young Nation. It's good to have you on the stream as well. All right, everybody, here we are. Here is our last view for the holiday season of my favorite Christmas tree outside of the New York Stock Exchange. So take it in, take a screenshot, whatever you got to do, because we'll see it next year. I'm not sure if we're going to be down here. Yo, Bagels and Walks, what's up? Happy New Year, man. Wishing you and your family much success, happiness, and health in the new year. Hopefully you had a fantastic first day of 2023. Thank you for joining us on New Year's Day. All right, one more shot, and then we're gonna boogie on out of here. Fantastic tree. Did a 10 out of 10 job this year. 10 out of 10. Looks absolutely gorgeous outside of the stock exchange. War Walker, God bless you. Good to see you. Now I'm very eager for Tuesday. Hold on, let's just cross Pine Street here. This is the Capitol Grill. It's probably closed. We won't visit Deutsche Bank tonight, or the old Deutsche Bank. Now that nobody's in here, I could give you guys a view inside of the Capitol Grill. Really nice in here. But I'm eager for Tuesday. I wonder what the first print of the new year is going to be. Now, just for fun, I think the first day of the new year. Oh, this is, love this architecture here with the Christmas wreath. Check this out. This is really nice. Hey, FredX, what's up? Thank you for joining us tonight. Now, if we had to guess as a chat here, the first trading day, just for fun, the first trading day of the year, do we think we're going to close positive or negative? Look at how shiny and spit polish clean this floor is. You could eat off the ground here, man. Look at that. I'm going to say positive just because I'm an optimist. Or I tend to be optimistic. Oh, jeez. I didn't even see that dog. But I still think we have I still think we have lower to go, unfortunately, so long as the Federal Reserve keeps raising interest rates and corporate earnings erode. Speaking of the Federal Reserve, our good pals, our good friends, actually not good friends, but here they are right here. This is the Federal Reserve building right here in Lower Manhattan. Now, I believe in this building probably about a couple stories below the earth here in Manhattan. I think it is the largest reserves of gold bars in the world. Is right here at the Federal Reserve on Liberty Street. And I remember way back in the day. Does anybody remember the movie Money Monster? Has anybody seen that movie? Now, I don't watch movies. I've actually never watched the movie. The only reason why I know about it is because I was skateboarding down here during my college days. I think actually my senior year of high school. And I saw them filming Money Monster right here. And George Clooney had the big bomb vest, what do you call it, suicide vest on or something like that. That scene is shot at this corner. And if you watch the movie, you'll see all the, I guess the extras they're called, lined up here. They'll have like the CNN anchors and Fox News anchors right here. Hey Brian, what's up? But yes, it is right here on the corner of Liberty and Nassau Street. Now, I'll give you guys a good book recommendation, okay? You guys want a New Year's book recommendation? I'll give it to you. If you want to know a little bit about the origins of the Federal Reserve, you gotta read a book called The Creature of Jekyll Island. It'll teach you all about how the Federal Reserve actually came about, and it'll teach you all about central banking. And this is why, you know, if you've been watching Walks on Wall Street for quite a long time, whenever we talk about, you know, building an investment framework, a systematic process to investing, we always first start with our macro view and then our monetary policy view. Okay, is the Federal Reserve tightening? Are they easing? Are we in a quantitative easing cycle? Are we in a quantitative tightening cycle? And also, what are other central banks around the world doing? Okay, so what is the ECB doing? What is the BOJ, the Bank of England? Because a lot of times, I think people can get clouded by only focusing on the Federal Reserve, which is our central bank here in the United States. And I think that is appropriate still, because usually we set the tone for the rest of the world. But I think it's still very, very important and very critical to understand what global central banks are doing as well. Frank the Tank says, Tom, have you ever seen Impractical Jokers filming on New York City streets? I have not. I've seen their work, though. I've definitely watched some clips of them and everything like that. Hey, Jessica and Lisa. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Bagels and Walks says, Tom, have you considered skateboarding in Central Park or along the waterfront? Oh, I shredded all over the city, man. I mean, in my heyday back in the day, I've shredded this entire city. Yeah, I would like to do that again, for sure. But I think as I get older, it's weird, right? And it's not like I'm super old, but I've noticed as it relates to my physical well-being, I just have naturally become more risk averse for whatever reason. I don't know why. I used to have no regard whatsoever. I used to just barrel down the New York City streets, weaving in and out of cars on the skateboard. No regard for my, health or well-being. I just didn't care. But I don't know. As you get older, it's like, oof, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. But I had a really good time during COVID doing that, because no cars were on the street. But I've noticed pretty much New York City's back in terms of drivers. If anything, there's probably more drivers now because not a lot of people want to take the public transit for obvious reasons, but drivers are crazy. Beautiful husky here. Love that. My sister has a dog that looks exactly like that. We actually get 2 dogs in one here. Oh, it looks like the husky wants to play, but the other guy wants no part of it. Well, that's life. Hey, Vasquez, Happy New Year. Wishing you the best for 2023. Thank you so much. Jim, what's up? I know, when we think of Daredevil things when I was a kid, 20s and 30s, I get shivers, I know. I think one of the reasons why... Oh, guys, hold on. Hold that thought. All right, I gotta mentally prepare the chat, okay? You're about to get a big blast of dopamine, okay? This is my favorite, and I'm being serious. This is my favorite new building in the city. For some reason, the architectural design really, really speaks to me. Check this out. I forget the exact, I think it's 130 William Street. You guys have to Google this building, okay? I want everybody to Google 130 William and check out some of the apartments in here. It is unbelievable. Now, here's the reason why I like it. I don't think the stream will do it justice because it's so dark out, but notice the shape of all the windows. They're these really, really unique shapes, and the windows are huge. They may not look huge, but they are huge. Maybe you'll get a better perspective here. Go on Zillow or apartments.com and look up 130 William. It's a brand new residential apartment complex. The pool is unbelievable in here, and the views are absolutely breathtaking. This is my new favorite building, my new favorite residential building. It is so cool. Now, when all of this nonsense construction is down, maybe we'll have to do a complete tour of this building, but it is insane. This thing is really, really awesome. Yeah, they're like arch shaped. They're pretty cool. Now, we are facing south. So think about all of the units that are facing south as well. You have unobstructed views of all of the major bridges, okay? Not only the Brooklyn Bridge, the Manhattan Bridge, but the Williamsburg Bridge as well, all in one sweeping view. It's insane. I was looking at some of the apartments there, and I think the cheapest one that you could get, I think, now don't quote me on this, you could look at Zillow if we want to look it up now. I think it's around $5,000. And I'm imagining, I'm like, I could put my desk right up against one of those windows and work all day. Like, that would be my dream office setup. You guys got to check that out. All right, anyway, enough about that building. I've plugged that building enough. But then imagine coming down out of your apartment at 130 William Street, walking to the corner of Fulton Street, and seeing the amazing Freedom Tower, World Trade Center every day. Insane. Hey, Solo 401. This is Solo's favorite building right here, Freedom Tower. Love it. Now, the final thing I'll say about 130 William, try to go on Google Images, and look at the pool in that building. It is so unique. The pool almost looks like a big bathtub, and you'll see a huge faucet, like a big life-size faucet that is filtering the pool. It's crazy. It is a crazy, crazy building. Now, it's good and it's bad, right? Because a lot of times on Walks from Wall Street, here's Cornell Weill Medical Center. I've done a lot of work with them. A lot of the times on the stream, we'll talk about the housing crisis we have in New York City specifically. It's expensive, guys. I mean, I think the average one-bedroom apartment in Manhattan, okay, not to be mistaken with the other boroughs, but in Manhattan, I think it's around $5,000 for the average one-bedroom apartment. So It seems like developers keep building and building and building ultra luxury apartments and condominiums, and a lot of the affordable units are falling by the wayside. Hey, Tom G, what's up? Yeah, Free Time says, what's up with a lot of the new skinny skyscrapers in Manhattan? It seems to be the new look, right? I mean, you have the Steinway building, you have 432 Park Avenue. Sunshine after rain, Victor, welcome. So here we are back again at Pace University, Lower Manhattan. Now there's also a really interesting apartment that I really like, which is right here. I forget the address. Does anybody want to help me out? I think this is 8 Spruce Street. Now take a look at the interesting architecture on this one, and I think a very notable musician lives in this building. Goes by the name of Questlove. I think he has a unit in that building, and obviously Questlove is arguably one of the greatest drummers of all time. He is a part of the extremely talented and very famous Roots group, who is now the Tonight Show band, I think, for Jimmy Fallon. Hey, Dr. Murray Hill, MD, what's up? Oh, it is 8 Spruce? Ah, you are correct. 8 Spruce Street. Just a really unique building, too. Now, all right, let's try this, everybody. We're going to attempt to walk the Brooklyn Bridge, but there's going to be a lot of people up there, I think. So if we start to buffer, which I think we may start to buffer right here, I guess just bear with us. We'll figure it out. Hey, Kevin Campbell, what's up? Good to see you, Kevin Campbell. Thanks for joining us. Chan is here. Welcome. August Ice. Wow, Antonio Roland. This is $4,000 for a studio apartment. Is the cheapest price. Now, Antonio, is that for 130 William? Or was that for 8 Spruce? Because I was looking at some units in 130 William. They were so amazing. It's just out of my budget now. Hey, Smee Media, what's up? This is Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year to you, too. Thanks for joining us. We're going to attempt to walk the Brooklyn Bridge, but we got to wait for the traffic light here. Maybe we could front run it a little bit. Here we have City Hall. Pixelogic says Happy New Year, Tom. Thank you, Pixelogic. I appreciate it. Happy New Year to you, too. So this is the on-ramp to the Brooklyn Bridge. And the Brooklyn Bridge is right next to a very famous university here, Pace University. Rich Child 9, Joe Driver. This is Godspeed, Tom, to the 3 police officers attack. Yeah, guys, that was crazy. I never even... Now, last night, I mean, there was just so much stuff going on for New Year's Eve, but yeah, supposedly there was a horrible attack on 3 New York City police officers with a machete, which is horrible. And I was reading a little bit about it in the Times, and I think the information is so new that we don't know, but I think one of the police officers graduated from the academy on Friday. This was his first day on the job, and his first day on the job, he gets hit in the head with the machete. So horrible. And that is why we appreciate very much all of our first responders, including FDNY, NYPD, Port Authority, trying to keep us safe from people that try to ruin, a good night when everybody's just trying to have a good time, right? So, it's horrible. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it, not to harp on the negative too much, but I think it's important to talk about. You know, that crazy guy could have ruined a lot of people's nights. But good thing that the police officers were able to step in and neutralize the situation. But that's what they do. They're professionals, right? They're professionals. That's what the NYPD is trained to do, is neutralize a threat and do it fast and efficiently and professionally. And that's what the New York City Police Department's all about. Okay, let's attempt to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. I think there may be a lot of people, but we'll try it since we're here in Lower Manhattan anyway. Yeah, SME Media, I know. So glad they stopped him. I'm glad too. I mean, could you imagine if he was able to break into Times Square? You know? Wow, look at all these Hey, Hermes addict. This is so scary. So you're still in Miami, is that correct? I think you're actually close to me. Didn't you tell me that we probably live very close in Miami together, right? I gotta say, I'm a little jealous. All right, team. On a more positive note, this is the building we were talking about, right? Look at how interesting and unique. I think unique is the better descriptive word for the architecture at 8 Spruce Street. It's almost like you're looking at a wave. Like the curvature of the building, the contrast with the clouds in the back, really, really unique. Now, maybe if you want to pull up another web browser and try to pull up an image on Google Images of this building, 8 Spruce Street, just so you can see what it looks like during the day. Really, really unique building here. And then as we turn to the right, I think one of my favorite buildings of all time, the Freedom Tower, One World Trade. Hermes Addicts says, yes, I'm in Miami, looking to get a South Beach place. But I was thinking getting second place in New York City, but will be Barcelona. Ooh, very nice. So you like South Beach. Look, I don't have anything against South Beach, but I don't know, I think I like it a little bit quieter, right? Now, here's my favorite sort of part of Miami that's right on the water. And I think it's actually technically called Little Buenos Aires. So 72nd Street, all the way up to about 86th Street and Collins Avenue. Beautiful place, absolutely beautiful. Also, check out Normandy Shores or Normandy Isles. That is just a gorgeous neighborhood. Fantastic. Yeah, Hawaii says, I like the units in 130 William better than 8 Spruce. I'm telling you, 130 William is, and I'll tell you why. You want to know one of the main reasons why I like that? I'll tell you. And here it is. How cool is that? Now, here's one of the main reasons why I appreciate it, is because Lower Manhattan, right, if you sort of think about the skyline of Lower Manhattan and compare it to the skyline of, let's say, Billionaires Row, Lower Manhattan tends to have more of an older style skyline, right? It's just only recently we've been having these massive, mega tall style buildings like this. But if you go and take a walk down Wall Street, right, and look up and notice a lot of the architecture, it is brick and mortar architecture. It's not a lot of huge, tall glass skyscrapers, and I kind of like that. And 130 William, even though it gives off the appearance of modern style, it sort of blends in better than maybe, an 8 Spruce. But I think in order for us to get a better perspective, I got to take you guys down here during the day, because at night it's kind of hard to see. Robert A. This is Normandy Isles. Yep, very wealthy. Yeah, I was gonna buy a place there in 2015, and it was gonna be a stretch for me to get the place. So I'm like, you know what? It's gonna be irresponsible if I get it. I'm gonna hold off. Now, the same property I was looking at buying there is going for 1.7 million. It was going for like 550. It's crazy. It's crazy. And COVID really accelerated that because, you know, I have a standalone video coming out too, so I don't want to give too much away, but I'll digress. Oh, wow. Airman's Attic 8 Spruce is gorgeous, but I heard the management of the building is terrible, so we opted out. Good to know. Very good to know. Palmetti's, welcome. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, please feel free to hit the like button on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We usually go live at 8:30 p.m. New York time and walk around New York and Miami discussing the financial markets. Rich Child 9, where are we? We are walking the Brooklyn Bridge. So if I pan over to the left, you'll see another very familiar bridge, which is the Manhattan Bridge. And pretty soon we'll be able to see the entire Midtown Manhattan. I'll stop here to give you a panoramic view of the Lower Manhattan skyline. All right, let's continue to walk over. And it's a really clear night, so we're gonna be able to see everything. We'll probably be able to see all the way to the Empire State Building, all of Billionaires Row. Hey, Makeup says, what is the temperature? It's probably about 50 degrees out tonight. Joseph Hardaway, this is my first time seeing it on Walks on Wall Street. Thank you. Hey, very cool. Well, welcome to the Brooklyn Bridge. We're headed to the Brooklyn side right now. Now, for everybody whose first time this is, walking the bridge, you'll notice there's no bikes. Anybody notice that? There's no bicycles here? Well, it's like that for good reason, because there used to be bikes whizzing in and out of the pedestrians, and it used to be a horror show going over the bridge. So what the city did, to their credit, it only took them 100 years, but they built a standalone bike lane right here. You guys see the bike lane? It separates. So now if you're a tourist, you can be rest assured everything's gonna be safe and there's only gonna be foot traffic. Before, you know, you'd have bikers clanging and banging, whizzing in and out of everybody. It used to be a nightmare, but it's really, really nice now. And also, if you notice, there's no more scaffolding. So you have unobstructed views of downtown Brooklyn. Verrazano Bridge, all the way over there. Now, if we head down all the way to the middle, halfway across the Brooklyn Bridge, you can actually see the Statue of Liberty, which I'll show you in a moment. But take a look down here. We always do walks here as well. South Street Seaport. All of Lower Manhattan. You can see all the way to the South Ferry Terminal. And my favorite view of the Wall Street area, but 130 William and the World Trade Centers. Andy is joining us from South Korea. Good to see you, Andy. Hope your 2023 is off to a fantastic start. I know, it was a pain walking across the bridge before they built the bike lane. Long overdue. I agree. Charlotte Morales, good to see you. Okay, let's continue to walk. Hopefully now that we saw the New York Stock Exchange, the Mighty Bold, the Fearless Girl, and the Statue of Liberty, hopefully that will be channeling all of the viewers of Walks on Wall Street. Good luck and prosperity for the new year. I'm trying to do the best I can to gas the good luck for the team. I think this is probably the most iconic view of the Brooklyn Bridge. All right, once we get up here, we'll be able to see all of Midtown Manhattan too. Hey, Steph UH is here. Says New York City is amazing. Good to see you. Meld's unpopular opinion, but I love the Manhattan Bridge more. That's a very good opinion because now we've walked over the Manhattan Bridge many times. I will say, and I will warn everybody, Manhattan Bridge is loud and it's not as touristy as this. It's really not a touristy place. It's very dark. Amazing views though. I mean, the views that you get from the Manhattan Bridge are almost, you can't even comprehend it. I'll show you guys, might as well. That's the Manhattan Bridge. Now, if you look closely, maybe we'll give it a minute, you'll see a really thin line of lights going across the bridge. It's actually the subway. So the subway goes over the Manhattan Bridge. There is no subway that goes over the Brooklyn Bridge. Hey, Ed T, what's up? Thank you, Ed. I'm wishing you a happy new year as well. But here's Midtown Manhattan, everybody. Now, I'll point out all the buildings really quick. So this little teeny piece of light here, sort of like a cone shape, is the Chrysler Building. You can see it pretty clear, and this is why I wanted to come up on the Brooklyn Bridge tonight. Really not a cloud in the sky. Now look at this unique little pencil-looking building right next to it. That is the Billionaires Row 432 Park Avenue building. Often we stream right under the 432 Park Avenue building and it looks monstrous. But all the way from the Brooklyn Bridge, it looks very, very small. Then the main one we have here is the Empire State Building. And then right to the left is the Bank of America Tower. Let me try to zoom in for you guys. So here is a pretty perfect centered view of the Empire State Building from the top of the Brooklyn Bridge. And if you look just to the left of the Empire, you have the Bank of America Tower. I'm gonna pan over slightly. Now these two buildings, the one that looks like a triangle is the very top of the Chrysler, and the one right to the left is 432 Park Avenue. It's kind of crazy how we could see almost everything from the top of the Brooklyn Bridge. Hey, taxi cab, what's up? Good to see you, taxi cab. I think this is an interesting shot because the clouds are sort of spotty. It almost looks like a pastel painting, doesn't it? Hey, Billy Johnson. This is Tom. Thank you so much. Thank you, Billy. Appreciate it. So the further we get over the bridge, the better the view you guys will get of One World Trade Center. I know, Marciam's almost looks fake or like sci-fi. You're right. Zada is here, says cheers. Just Barry. All right, just Barry, let's keep that maybe to yourself, that one. But congratulations, but maybe keep that one to yourself. Hey, Roman Chid says Happy New Year, Tom's greeting from Santo Domingo. Welcome. Ooh, now that we moved actually a little bit further, you could see One Vanderbilt. We couldn't see that before. All right, let's try to pass all of the... It's nice to see a lot of tourists on the bridge, though, you know? It's actually a good sign that, you know, we're recovering from the pandemic, so I'm actually happy to see it. I'm happy about it. I definitely wouldn't do that, but wow, this is a better view of Midtown. Hey, Mike C, thank you for joining. I gotta zoom in on One Vanderbilt for you guys, I apologize. All right, we'll hit the buildings once again. This is One Vanderbilt, 432 in Chrysler. I just had to point it out. Hey, Manthony18, good to see you. Happy New Year.
Come on, Jake.
Ali Star Guns says Happy New Year. Tom, thank you. Happy New Year to you too. Dr. Scopifies, Tom, what is your favorite tower in the city? Well, my favorite building in the city is the Seagram building. It's my absolute favorite. It is on Park Avenue. So I would say the Seagram building. But a residential, if you're talking about residential, I love 157 and 130 William. I think if I ever make it big, right, in anything, in my career, whatnot, I would love to rent a unit in 157, or maybe even own a unit. Probably not own. The property taxes would be disgusting. But I love 157. That's my favorite building. And I'll tell you why. If anybody's familiar with Billionaires Row, maybe I'll have to do a standalone video talking about and explaining Billionaires Row. But 157 was the first building that really started the trend of Billionaires Row. So I think the first is kind of a staple and an icon for the trend. Right now we have Central Park Tower, we have the Steinway building, we have 432 Park Avenue, but the first one was 157, and I think one of the first residences to purchase a unit in the apartment was Bill Ackman. He's one of my favorite investors. He runs a hedge fund, Pershing Square, and also Michael Dell. Michael Dell owns a unit in that building as well. And the views from 157 are just amazing. You see all of Central Park, which is my favorite, just my favorite location. Central Park South, fantastic. All right, we'll walk a little bit further down because this is the highlight of the whole show, team. Okay? This is Lady Liberty, the beacon of hope, the beacon of freedom, right here. You could see her, she's right here. She looks fantastic, by the way. Would everybody agree with that? Oop, let me try to zoom in. This new streaming software, it's hard to... All right, here we go. All right, there we go. That's the Statue of Liberty right here. Pretty good view, not the best, but hey, Marcy M. E. Smith, welcome. Yeah, I mean, if you could pretty much see everything here. Again, there's Midtown Manhattan. All right, let's actually head back to the Manhattan side. Oh, you could see the train rolling over the bridge. You guys see it? Over the Manhattan Bridge. Toby Sanchez says, Happy New Year, Tom. Thank you, Toby. Appreciate it. And this little collective of big buildings here is the Hudson Yards. So hopefully, guys, a lot of the buildings that we're talking about tonight, right, as you guys could tell, we do mainly have a focus on, the equity markets, on Walks on Wall Street, but we talk about the real estate market quite a bit. And I am very passionate about it. So next year, my goal is to, add a third part to the channel to do live deal analysis of some of these buildings we talk about, right? So we'll get access to the units both in New York City and Miami, both residential and multifamily too. So we'll be doing maybe apartment tours with the deal analysis, right? We'll talk about the different tax structures that are most advantageous maybe when trying to buy these properties. If we're looking at a multifamily unit, we'll do the deal analysis there. So all cool things to come, I think. All right, let's get off the bridge now because I think we have a big walk back. Hey, Abdullah, good to see you. Hey, Dominic Romano, what's up? Let me see if I can read some of the chats. Dominic says, where do you get data for the real estate market? Multiple places, but I'm actually going to get, and very seldom do I sort of plug any one company. But there's a New York-based startup called Parcel Labs. I think they're a very good follow on Twitter, and they have some really interesting real estate data. So check them out. It's called Parcel Labs. It's a New York-based company. They have some very, very interesting sort of like real-time real estate data. But in addition to that particular company, I have no affiliation with it. I just follow them on Twitter. I just look at all of the leading indicators, right? I follow the National Association of Realtors, all their reports. That's very dangerous, by the way. I wouldn't do that. Existing home sales report, a lot of the leading indicators such as the housing starts, building permits, things like that. I use those as leading indicators. Let me, excuse me. What about you, Dominic? You have any sources that you look at? Eric Kaufman says, Tom, have you heard of Ben Mallah? I have. I think he's down there in Florida, is he not? Hey, Francisco, says, Tom, can you walk the Manhattan Bridge, or is it just for trains and cars? You can. You could actually walk the Manhattan Bridge too. It's really loud up there, though, I will warn you. So if you do walk the Manhattan Bridge, very loud, because the train goes by. And it's loud. Pixelogic, Joe Driver, Cynthia Beale, welcome. Christina says, Tom, looks like a busy night on the Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah, it was just a lot busier. That's why we took a little bit of a walk on Wall Street. Dominic Romanos is mostly National Association of Realtors, looking for more though. Yeah, Dominic, check them out on Twitter, Parcel Labs. They post a lot of interesting things about relative price fluctuations in specific key markets, like Miami, San Francisco, New York. Now, one of the interesting things that we've been sort of talking about this is, generally speaking, real estate prices are coming down, right? Especially as we talk about residential real estate. But the East Coast of the United States, the whole East Coast, I'm talking about, New England all the way down to Miami, is holding up much better than the West Coast. And it's funny because in previous down cycles in the real estate market, there's been a select few markets that have really, really taken it on the chin, right? You think about Vegas. Las Vegas tends to have extreme boom-bust cycles in real estate. Phoenix, Arizona, places like Austin, Texas, big boom-bust cycles there. Miami, Florida, Tampa, Florida, major boom-bust cycles. But the anomaly in this downturn, so far, right, things could change, is that a lot of the Arizona real estate is coming down. A lot of the Vegas real estate is coming down. California is getting bombed in many particular places, specifically in and around Silicon Valley. But the whole East Coast is kind of holding strong. Now, prices are coming down, but not a comparison to what it's like, in Austin, in Phoenix, Arizona, right? And Miami has actually been an anomaly, because usually Miami gets hit like crazy hard. You're talking about 50% price declines. I'm not saying that can't happen, but so far the whole East Coast of the United States is holding up relatively well, as on a relative basis in comparison to the West Coast. Hey, Harjot is here. It says, hey, Walks on Wall Street. Good to see you, Harjot. Thanks for being here. All right, one last shot of 8 Spruce Street. The Freedom Tower, One World Trade. And then my favorite residential building, which is 130 William, right here. Hey, 45. This is why the disparity between the East and the West. Well, I don't know the exact answer, and I don't think anybody could tell you the exact answer, but I'll tell you my opinion. And here's my opinion. Now, the East Coast is littered with major educational institutions like the Ivy League colleges and cities like Boston and New York. So you have a constant flow of talent feeding into the workforce, right? You think about all the Ivies. Now, you do have that on the West Coast, but if you think about a state like Arizona, and this isn't to talk negatively about a state, this just tends to be what happens. You really want to be very close to very good educational institutions, because they act as feeders and onboarders into neighboring cities and big companies, right? I think the second reason, and this was pretty prevalent leading up to 2008, if you look at the markets that really came down and were depressed, Miami, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada, these tend to be markets where people speculate in real estate on a relative basis, right? Historically, they've speculated in real estate there, and these places are pretty much like, relatively speaking, paradise, right? Very nice weather. People buy second, third homes, very transient places. Now, I think that's changing in Miami. I think that's trend is going to change. And again, full disclosure, I'm biased. I do own property there, so I'm biased. But I do think that a lot of new banking jobs, tech jobs, finance jobs that are coming to the Miami area are now going to provide solid, full-time, really good jobs. And the problem with Florida in general before is the wages were pretty low, right? That has been a big issue. You know, why would you graduate from a nice college and work in Florida, right, even Miami, when you can come to New York or Boston or Silicon Valley or wherever and make tons more money? I think that's just starting to change now. And I think that trend has accelerated with COVID, right, with hybrid and remote work. But I think in like Vegas, it's the desert, still a lot of real estate speculation there. But those would be my main two reasons, relatively. There's not too much crazy real estate speculation in those markets as opposed to Vegas, parts of Arizona, things like that. But I don't know. Anybody have an idea? I want to know what your guys' opinion on that. Because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe you guys have different ideas than I do. All right. Hey, Dusty Cole, this is Tom. Oh, I think we may be buffering. We'll wait till the buffering stops. Pineapple Water says, I disagree. Tons of speculation in Miami condo market with foreign investors. So what are you disagreeing with? Because that was the entire point that we just went through. So historically, markets like Miami, Florida, Tampa, parts of Arizona like Phoenix, and Las Vegas, Nevada, generally have more real estate speculation, and that is why they've declined more. So maybe, I don't think we are disagreeing there. But anyway, maybe it's just miscommunication. Steve CR, the lady was watching you, Tom. She gave me the eye. Yeah, well, whatever. You know, pineapple water, especially in places like Sunny Isles Beach. But I think the anomaly there with, I think this cycle around in Miami is there's more real jobs and more real infrastructure now. Before there wasn't, it was just mass speculation, people buying third, fourth, fifth homes. But they're still doing that now, but at least now there's some real solid jobs and some real solid companies moving there, like Citadel Securities and other major investment banking arms. But you're right, a lot of those sub-markets have been plagued with speculation for sure. Hey, Paul, thank you so much for your very kind words. I appreciate it. Do I have an online store? I do not have an online store. I apologize for that. But thank you so much for the support. Teresa Diaz, thank you. JRNY Girl 70s says real estate is still going crazy in North Texas area. PGA headquarters and Jerry Jones developing lots of land. Thank you for that insight. Thank you for that insight. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm trying to do the best to read the comments. As you guys know, we're working with a bootleg streaming software. I'm going to have to build my own, but that's going to take me about a year, but I'll do it. Hey, Disney Matt says, I think New York City is still always going to be the city. Sure, Arizona and Miami are getting more companies, bringing operation to those cities, but New York is already built and will continue to grow. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 1,000%. Let's take a little bit of a shortcut here, actually. I'm going to take you guys on a shortcut as we head back to Midtown. Hey, Mothman, what's up? So Disney Matt makes a really good point. I think it's appropriate for everybody to read Disney Matt's comment. And that is a good thing for New York and it's a bad thing for New York. And here's what I mean and here's why I say that. Because everybody wants to be in New York City and make a name for themselves, right? I think we could all agree with that. I mean, this is undeniably the greatest city on planet Earth. And that's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. And I'll tell you why it's a bad thing. Because politicians know that. So New York City is such a unique place. You have buildings like this, One World Trade Center. And politicians know that even though things get egregious and they can have their crazy plans and run the city into the ground, people will have a higher tolerance for that crazy stuff, right? For example, like me, I love New York City. I don't like the turn it's taking, right? And not to get political, I respect all views, but, you know, crime is up here significantly. It's filthy, okay? I've been seeing the city change for the worse, but I still, after all of that nonsense, after the highest taxes ever, after the crime, after the filth, it smells. It's still the greatest city on earth. And I'll give you an example. So I bought a place in Miami, right? If Miami ever turned for the worse in a political environment or, you know, crime and like I see it and it smells, I would dump the hell out of that place and be out of there tomorrow. New York is different like that. And politicians realize that, so they can sort of push their BS agenda because people will put up with it. So that is the good and the bad, in my opinion. In my opinion. Hey, Trev, what's up? Good to see you, Trev. All right, this is a little bit of a shortcut because it'll bypass us having to go through Chinatown like that, and will take us right into NYU. Brian XTC, this is true, but New York City is still cleaner and safer now than in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, I don't really care about that because I was born in 1995. So you got to understand my experience seeing the city and seeing it. Like, I'm not saying it, I don't want to, you know, press fear, right? But there is a problem. It's a pretty obvious problem. You know, I'm optimistic about it. I actually do think the mayor will solve this problem, but I think it's going to take time. That's it. I think the mayor will solve the problem. I'm confident in his abilities to do that, but I think it's going to take time. It's a big city. It's not going to change in a year. He's only been mayor for, not only a year? Give him time. He'll change it. He'll do it. He'll do it. I'm confident. Now, does this look familiar, everybody? This is actually where we usually start off the stream. Right on the corner of Canal Street. This is one of my favorite WeWork buildings here. Hey, Dallas F says, Tom, what are your thoughts on the markets this coming year? You're a year older than me. I always thought you were much older. Hey, we're both 90s childs, which is pretty cool. So if I had to give a prediction about the markets for next year, it would depend on, I would say, two variables. Now, number one is, do we think, let me actually cross here because I'll show you guys. I want to show you guys the window we usually broadcast live from. So from the window, you see this is the view. So I think the question every investor needs to ask themselves is this: do we think that the monetary policy environment is going to fundamentally change in 2023? And my bet is no. I think that the Federal Reserve still is going to put the pedal to the metal with keeping interest rates elevated, okay? Now, they may take a break and stop hiking by mid next year, but I think a lot of analysts on Wall Street are conflating two different things. But really quick, this is where we broadcast. This is the other WeWork office. This is actually a really nice one too, because let's say if you're gonna go take lunch or something like that, you just walk out here, you bang a right on Canal Street, you're right in Chinatown. It's one of the best food in the city. That's why I like working out of that office. Anyway, so here's where I think a lot of analysts and PMs on the street are maybe being a little bit too optimistic and maybe missing something. They think that everybody is trying to bet one way, from what I'm seeing. And they're saying that, okay, if Fed Chair Jerome Powell stops hiking rates, the market's going to automatically turn around because we're going to automatically do QE again. That's not necessarily true, and I think they're missing the point, because it's not only about rates going up. It's about rates being left alone at on a relatively normalized basis, right? So if you think about what really fueled a lot of the growth in the stock market, a lot of these SaaS companies, unprofitable tech companies taking off and expanding on a ridiculous price-sales ratio, price-earnings ratio, it's been driven by cheap money and liquidity. And let's say if the Federal Reserve takes the Fed funds rate to 5% and leaves them there for a year, that's still going to wreak a lot of havoc on the tech sector and startups, because they're not going to be able to raise money, right? If you think about a lot of these companies, and not all, but a lot. Ooh, we're running out of battery. Hold on. I got to put you guys down. All right, quick intermission. Hold that thought. I got to plug in the battery before we go dead. So hold that thought. I'll be back. Okay, we are back. So, what I've noticed is over the past decade, a lot of companies were able to stay afloat in a sense because they were able to acquire debt or acquire money very, very cheaply to service their existing debt as well, right? And many of these companies are called zombie companies. So that is one of my main concerns. So even if the Fed says, all right, we're going to go to 5% Fed funds and we're going to leave them there, that's still going to put a lot of pressure on a lot of companies. And I don't quite think a lot of people realize that yet. And one of the more fundamental differences between now and 08, in my view, is that there's just a lot more debt now. So think about it. We've been really focusing, and we're going to talk more tomorrow, because that is the Markets to Look Ahead stream. But we've been talking a lot about companies, individual companies having a potential hard time servicing their debt, right? If they want to refinance or something like that. But think about the US government, right? As the Federal Reserve continues to raise rates, our debt as a country, let me cross here, even though we have the light, those food delivery bike guys come banging down the road at 200 miles an hour. It costs the United States more money to service our debt, and that's a problem too. So I think we need to add one more variable. Everybody thinks once inflation gets back down to 2%, if it ever does, the Fed's just going to cut back to zero. Who makes those rules? That doesn't need to happen. It could happen, but it doesn't need to. Maybe Fed Chair Jerome Powell leaves Fed funds at 5% for a year. I don't know. So we'll see. Hey, E. Monica says nobody out tonight. So this location where we're at now is Soho. So very seldom after around maybe 8 o'clock at night, there's really nobody here. And I kind of like taking you guys on these walks throughout different neighborhoods because I think, on TV, it can paint maybe a little bit of a false perception of what New York is. So every time we walk around Midtown Manhattan, there's always tourists there because, that's between 34th Street and 50th Street, Times Square. The rest of the city at night is kind of dead. Normal people live here, right? You have all of these apartments, all the shops are closed. So it's kind of cool for you guys to see the main tourist areas and then more residential too. Hey, Patricia Ivory. This is Tom. There's a problem in North Carolina, Oklahoma, California. It's a sign that times things will get back on track, or will get on track. Good to see you, Patricia Ivory. Chan, welcome. Let me adjust the camera here. But here's another thing that I think is very important. And I think I picked this up from Paul Tudor Jones. And Paul Tudor Jones is one of the greatest traders of all time. And he says, don't let your own personal bias cloud you so much that you're unable to trend follow. Trend following is very, very important. If this market turns up, okay, and stocks are exploding off the bottom, we have new highs list exceeding new lows, I'm gonna get involved regardless of my, personal bias, economic bias, or political bias. And now that it's the new year, we're going to be starting up the newsletter again. So if you want to read about my financial thoughts, if you type !news, NEWS in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link to our newsletter. We are now going to be migrating to Substack, so look out for that next week. Because Elon Musk is getting rid of Review. Hey, Makeup is here. Dallas F says I'm still long. I've just been running covered calls. Interesting. Abdullah, what's up? Steve CR. Now, I really want to point out a lot of the buildings here in Soho. One of the things I like about them is a lot of the fire escapes. I would love to live in a Soho loft one day for sure. I would like to go to Berlin.
I know, right? Thank you. Like you go down the slide and like I couldn't go.
No, so we are now headed uptown. We are just coming from the Brooklyn Bridge. We are headed uptown to 34th Street, Penn Station, Moynihan Train Hall. Yeah, 45 says the residences in Soho seem to have very large windows. Yeah, it's more of the classic architecture. I think a lot of the buildings down here used to be different mills and different factories back in the day that have been converted into lofts, apartments. This is Prince Street Station. You can get the R&W trains. This side is the downtown Brooklyn, but if you keep walking down Prince Street, you'll run into a very famous pizza place called Prince Street Pizza. Yeah, Pup, we'll definitely go on the Staten Island Ferry one night for sure. Hey, Frank Garcia, this is Tom, our artist getting pushed out of New York City. You know, I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are. I don't think it's exclusive to New York. I think it's in all major cities, everywhere. Rents are going up. But as we look at leading economic indicators, we're starting to actually see things come down a bit. Hey, Susanna Q4, what's up? Starving artist, Happy New Year. Now, I think this would be fun. This is West Houston Street. We're about to cross and continue on our way uptown. But for everybody in the chat, if you had to guess a specific sector that's going to outperform next year, what would you guess? If you had to guess a specific sector, right? And I know that the economy is very malleable. It changes, right? There's really no way for us to predict. But if you just had to throw a dart at the board, what sector do you think is going to outperform next year? FredEx's healthcare. Time-lapse's energy and commodities are going to outperform again. Okay. Cynthia Beale, what's up? Yes, this year. Dallas F says, you think the QQQ is going to outperform this year? Greg says green energy. That's a good guess, actually. Dallas F says, if rates stabilize, you think the QQQ is going to outperform? Mr. Farva, 85, says defense. I have a comment on that. That's a really good guess, too. Paul Meddy says energy and healthcare. Krista says holistic health. Interesting. What would be an example of a stock that is in the holistic health space? Ali Star says space exploration is going to outperform. Interesting. Cool. Dudas is auto parts. Size Slim says for sure hospitality and tourism. Cool. Medical technology, says somebody. RS says work on that branding. Twitch ASMR says materials. Okay. Rich Child 9 says LVMH. Okay, so luxury. Interesting. Luxury brands may outperform again. Now, speaking of LVMH, I think the CEO and founder of LVMH is now the richest man in the world, dethroning Elon Musk. Rich says nuclear energy is going to outperform. I think we should embrace nuclear energy a lot more. All right, a lot of good guesses. Interesting. I respect it. Here we are once again across the street is my favorite coffee shop, or one of my favorite coffee shops. It's called Gasoline Alley Coffee. Very good. Yes, time-lapse. I'm familiar with ISRG. All right. If you guys have enjoyed the live stream so far tonight, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel so you'll get notified when we go live again. We start at 8:30 Eastern time, almost every night. Tons of trash in the garbage cans, they're almost overflowing. First and last is expand your thoughts on the defense sector. Yeah, so here's what I was gonna say about defense. You know, it's so warm out, guys. I may need to take off my jacket. I'm gonna give it 5 more minutes and I'm gonna decide. Not that you guys care, but I think out loud. Anyway, delete that. Forget I said that. So here's what I think about the defense sector. Now, notice a lot of the times we talk about relative strength on the stream. And relative strength essentially just means how is a stock performing relative to all other stocks out there, right? So a stock could be performing technically negatively, but it could be performing less negatively than others. So if you think about the defense sector, right? Lockheed Martin, for example. Pull up a chart of Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman, really any of the big defense stocks, and they're trading near 52-week highs. Now, they may not be gassing right up at the high, but they've performed relatively well this year. And I think we could all, say as to why, right? The military-industrial complex is unfortunately grinding along. Now, I haven't participated in that trade, but I've been watching it. Now, a bet on the defense sector is a bet that perpetual wars will continue to go on. I'm not saying that is what I think, but, I think you guys could pick up what I'm putting down, team. Hey, Nina's here. What's up? Says, hey, Tom and team. Good to see you, Nina. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of comments about Boeing. Well, Boeing is... the guy is back. He's back. We got to find out who's doing this. So as you walk up Lafayette here, every trash can is kicked over every night, every time. I don't know why these people do this, but... it's like they have a rampage through the garbage every night. It's disrespectful because, somebody has to clean that up, right? The sanitation workers, the poor sanitation guys, have to come along and do it. You're just making their job harder than it is, And our New York City sanitation workers are some of the best in the country. They bust their you-know-what, and don't make work harder for them, please. Whoever's doing that, please stop. These guys, deal with... think about that. These people's jobs are to deal with New York City garbage. That's probably one of the most physically demanding and disgusting jobs. At least as New Yorkers, we could make things a little bit easier on them and not, cluster bomb the trash can every night. Anyway. Warwalker. The Blue Man Group. Has anybody ever seen this show before? I'd really like to go, actually. I'm actually going to look into it this summer. I would love to go see them. Sabrina Fair says nope. Oh, Greg, you've seen it? Thoughts there? Recommend or not recommend? Blue Man Group. Oh, E. Monica B says you did in Vegas. How was it? So a lot of people have actually seen them in Vegas. Very cool. I'd like to go. All right, everybody, we got to put a little bit of pep in the step because I just realized we've been streaming for 2 hours already. It feels like we've been streaming for 15 minutes. I'm behind the 8 ball again. And we got to put a little bit of gas in the tank and step on the gas pedal here. So please excuse if we are a little bit shaky with the camera work. We just got to put the burners on, everybody, and head uptown. Cooper says, Tom, what happened to all the New York taxis? Well, at night they tend to hang around Midtown, right? Because if you're a yellow cab, well, there's one. If you're a yellow cab driver, it's not like Uber where, you know, the app pings you where to pick up people. You kind of got to drive to the customers. And there's no customers down here. They're all in Midtown Manhattan. So as we make our transition from Lower Manhattan to Midtown, you guys will be able to see. You guys will be able to see a lot of the cabs. Yeah, Richard Vogel's time to grab a rickshaw. Or a city bike. Would you guys watch that? City bike in Wall Street? What do you think? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Would you guys watch that if we mount the rig to the city bike, talk about finance, and cruise the streets of New York on the bike? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Dusty calls like, has Tom ever drank fluids on the stream? We've consumed some fluids before. Very seldom. Only when it's like 95 degrees and 100% humidity is when we got to break out the fluids. Thumbs up. All right, we'll have to try it. I think we did try it one time over the summer. But you all right, Dusty Cole. I probably should walk around with a bottle of water. Here's a billiards bar, which is actually really fun. You don't even have to go to drink. You can just play pool.
Hello.
Pool's a really fun game. Hey, R2D2, thank you for joining us. Now, how many of our American viewers that are watching are off tomorrow? Is pretty much everybody off, or are you guys back to work? Hey, Ryan Iglesias. Happy New Year, man. Hope you enjoyed your first day of 2023. Hunter Butler says you're off Mondays. Love it. Wow, a lot of people are off. Love it, love it. First and Laughs is retired. Jealous. Yeah, so tomorrow is New Year's Day observed. So the markets will be closed. Stock market, fixed income. So tomorrow is actually going to be our Sunday on Walks on Wall Street. We'll be doing our markets a look ahead live stream. Here's the Strand bookstore here. One of my favorites. Hey, Marty's is retired. But when I was working Monday, it would be a holiday. Love that schedule. Good to see you, Marty. DM says you're on a leave for work. Hope everything's all right. Hope it's a good leave, I guess. Marty, yeah, no mail tomorrow, no banks. Bank holiday. Which is good. Everybody will have an extra day to get into the swing of things. Now, a lot of people have pretty much been off since Christmas. We've been talking about that. It seems as if a lot of the offices were empty. I mean, I've been in the office every day, and it was a ghost town in there. It was nobody. Glass 88. This is enjoying breakfast while watching your live stream. We'll hope you have a fantastic breakfast. Please let us know what you're having. And thank you for watching us. Krista says, I work every day. Somebody says, should I go teach painting or geology? If I had to choose, I'd say painting. Mainly because that's what I'd like to learn, I guess. Friendship Light says WeWork needs a sponsor, Tom, who agrees. That's actually an interesting proposition. All right, since this is Walks in Wall Street After Hours, we're going on well over 2 hours. Do we think that WeWork should sponsor the stream? At the end of the day, I mean, we pretty much start off every live stream with WeWork. We plug the hell out of them every day. Maybe it'd be a good idea. Maybe they'll see it. Maybe they'll reach out. Rich Shaw 9 says absolutely. Twitch ASMR says no. You know, Empire State Building right here, I'm a tad bit disappointed because usually they have the New Year's colors all lit up on New Year's Day as well, but they only had it lit up for like 3 seconds. Like they literally had it up for 15 minutes and they took it down. Wow, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Cool. Well, here's the thing about sponsors. I really never want to do any because I just don't like being held to account for anybody. I think the stream is a way for me to just hang out and not have to, I don't know, we'll see. Sheeves says, how cold is it? It's actually not cold. It's actually really nice. It's like 50 degrees. It's beautiful out. This is like the perfect weather. This is the perfect winter weather for me. 50 degrees. Okay, Union Square. We're headed up towards East 17th Street. I know, Rich is like, my thoughts exactly. You'd have to mind your P's and Q's. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, every single business on earth operates with sponsors, but I think just where we're at now with the stream, I kind of just like giving the thoughts, giving the news in the financial markets, hanging out, talking, and I think, you know, that's all. I'm seeing, so Steve Sar, you mentioned Pepsi. I have a thing that popped into my mind here. I think Tesla has now delivered successfully what, my God, I keep forgetting the name. What is it called? The Tesla semi-trucks. I think they delivered their first batch to Pepsi. So the Tesla semis are now officially on the road. I would love to see one of those things on the road. Has anybody in the chat ever seen a Tesla semi? One of those big Tesla trucks on the road, or no? Exploration, yes. Tesla semi, Ninus is not yet. Warwalkers is nope. Richard Vogel says, when does the Cybertruck come out? I think that's kicked down the road another year. But does anybody know when the Cybertruck comes out? Oh, somebody says, I've seen the electric Amazon trucks. Interesting. I'm excited for that. I'd love to see that. If anybody in the chat ever sees one of those Tesla semis on the road, take a picture, send it to us in the Discord. Hey, Greg says the Cybertruck comes out in 2020, mid 2023. Wow, that's pretty soon. Time lapse time. I want the Hummer EV. Now, I think Lamborghini is coming out with their all electric vehicle, right? And I think they may have sold out, like the pre-orders, something like that. Ah, yeah. All right, East 20th Street. We're about to see arguably the best view of the Empire State Building that there is. As we head into the Flatiron District. Ooh, okay. They're unveiling their first electric supercar in 2028. So a little bit of a ways to go. Wow, fantastic shot of the Empire.
Do you understand like how
I just had a deja vu moment. I'm trying to think of what though. For some reason on that same street corner, I always see distraught people. There's always phone calls with people crying on that corner. I don't know why. This is like the 10th time I've experienced that. Anyway, amazing shot, fantastic. Speaking of another building with scaffolding on it, here we have the Flatiron building, peppered with scaffolding. Ha, Chris. Wow, that's an awesome shot. Empire State Building and the Chrysler, the bottom right. Little buffering here. Hey, Kevin says, how do we find you on Discord? Well, we used to have a link in the description, but we have a new streaming software. Maybe one of the moderators could drop the link. I have to tweak. Tomorrow, everybody has off. I'm gonna use tomorrow to tweak some things. But Kevin, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Let's walk up Fifth Avenue. Oh, I just remembered. So I have another book recommendation for 2023. And I'll tell you why I'm going to recommend this particular book. Because, really quick, this is the Madison Square Park Christmas tree. It looks all right. It looks all right. They get 5 points for trying, but it looks all right. We'll leave it at that. Now, as we know, right, as we've sort of gone through this timeline, 2020 and 2021, especially 2021, were blockbuster years on Wall Street as it relates to IPOs, or initial public offerings. Quick look at the Empire State Building. Now, that was mainly due to massive injections of liquidity, extremely easy monetary policy, and extremely high, and I would even say irrational and egregious, fiscal spending, right? Massive amounts of liquidity flowing through the marketplace, investors looking to put money to work in any and all aspects of the market. There was a record number of initial public offerings in 2021. Well, what happened in 2022? The exact opposite happened. And we talked about this, especially as it relates to the investment banks, because the investment banks make a lot of their money off of fee income. Okay, so equity underwriting fees, they take companies public, and a lot of that deal flow went away once the Fed started to raise rates and suck liquidity out of the market. Okay, so IPO activity was down 99% in 2022. So I have a book recommendation. It is called The Life Cycle Trade by Kathy Donnelly and Eve Bobach, okay? This book is very, very critical to read because they did a study of all initial public offerings, I think going back to the early 1980s. And they did a study on performance of IPOs. And a lot of these new initial public offerings have been tanked. They've gotten bombed. Much of them are down 70 to 90%. So I think if you read that book, understand the life cycle trade, look for the different characteristics that make up a leading performing IPO, you'll notice why I'm going to recommend it. And there's an old saying, awesome dog here. Any company could go public during a bull market, right? Any company. But during bear markets, pay very, very, very close attention to companies that are becoming public. Extremely close attention. Because if you can raise money and go public during harsh economic downturns, that could be a potential catalyst for a big winner. So that is my recommendation. Check the book out. Hey, Touring Different Places is here. Thanks for joining us. Okay, we're coming up to Koreatown. Very, very close. 32nd Street. Hey, Christopher Collins. Well, I think the sectors that I'm going to be paying close attention to in 2023, and this is not to sound cheeky, by the way, is the sectors that are littering the new high list. Now, we'll talk more about this tomorrow, but you really, especially now that we're in a secular bear, you want to be paying attention to the stocks that are littering the new 52-week high list, because those are the market leaders, and you'll probably pick up key characteristics. about those companies. Maybe they're in a specific dominant sector. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow because, team, we've been streaming for 2.5 hours. And I do love hanging out with you guys. My favorite thing to do. But I gotta go home. Is that an acceptable excuse? I want to thank all of you. Oh, you know what? Oof. It's New Year's Day, man. I wanted to see the ball. All right, let me debate something here really fast. All right, quick internalized debate. Allow me one moment. All right. It is New Year's Day, and I gotta see the Times Square ball with the numerals. I just have to do it. It's a tradition. I gotta do it. They're still playing Christmas music. Nice. All right, let me give you guys this shot of the Empire State Building. If you guys got a boogie, I completely understand, but I really want to see this. I just really want to see on New Year's Day the Times Square numerals with the ball lit up. So if you guys want to stick around, feel free to run to the refrigerator, grab another, bottled water, whatever you guys are drinking, iced tea, seltzer, coffee, whatever you got to do. Take a little bit of a break, come back, and feel free to join us. But we are gonna send it all the way to 42nd Street. I just want to see what it looks like, because even though we were close yesterday, we were pretty far away. So we'll do that now. Hey pup, thank you so much for the $2.99 donation. I appreciate you very much and wish you a very, very happy new year. First and last, thank you so much for the $2 donations. Just grab yourself a bottle of water. I may do that later. Thank you so much. Hey, Disney Matt. This is Tom. Do you miss living in New York City proper, or do you like living on Long Island better? Oh, good question. All right, I'll say this. I really, really like Massapequa Park and Massapequa during the spring and in the summer. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And Long Beach, I like during the summer too. But in the winter, it's just too dark and it's too cold. And it feels like I'm going into a desolate void. So I like the city better. But in the summer, it's awesome. You're at the beach, you're hanging out, you're going to All American, you're going to John Burns Park, kicking the ball around. You're having a good time, right? So that's what I'd say. That's what I'd say about that. Wow, look at how nice the entrance of this building is. Hey, Kerry says, hey, Tom, love your intelligent conversation and soothing voice. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here, Kerry. Bior, thank you so much for your $5 donations. It's Happy New Year, Tom. Thanks for having us along for the ride. Thank you for joining us along for the ride. And I'm wishing you an explosive new year filled with amazing success. Now, I've been asked about New Year's resolutions a lot. And I know we've sort of said this now ad nauseum, but for the new people, I challenge you to really refine and develop systems and a systematic process to everything, right? And if you could stick to a system, you increase the probability of reaching your end goal. So don't even worry about achieving the goal. Draw up a framework, okay? Draw up a framework, a systematic process, and work it relentlessly every day, and you will find success, right? And I've said this, I think I learned that by working a corporate tech sales job. You have your metrics, you have your activity, you have to manage your 30, 60, 90 funnel. And your quota is your goal. But if you work at any big tech company, right, selling software, or you sell telecom or whatever, you have, well, I'm not sure everybody, but I went through, like they send you to training, right? It's like an 8-week training, and they run you through a process, right? And these Fortune 500 companies spend millions of dollars, right, refining these training programs so they work. And if you actually abide by them and do them, you're going to be really successful. And what you'll notice is they start by laying out for you a framework, making X amount of calls, making X amount of emails, X amount of appointments set, X amount of follow-up. And if you work that and you do that every day, you're more likely to hit your goal, which is your quota. So even if you're trying to lose, 20 pounds, don't focus on going to the gym every day, right? Focus on making a small, teeny change to say, I'm going to eat 1 cup of vegetables a week, right? Now that may sound like that's nothing, but do that for 1 week. So 1 cup of vegetables a week, right? So throughout the 7 days. Then after that 7 days, bump it up to 2 cups of vegetables a week and do that for 7 days. And then gradually work up to your level where now I'm eating a cup of vegetables every day for the whole year, right? And if you can build those habits and stick to a framework and ease your way there, I'm telling you, it's gonna work so much better than having these arbitrary goals but no roadmap how to get there. So maybe you wanna make more money, maybe you wanna be healthier. Start with very small, systematic processes and work them relentlessly for the entire year. So that's what I'm gonna try to do in the new year, passing by the Steven Schwartzman building here. And we're here, 42nd Street. See, we're already here. We made it here in no time. We'll bang a left by the ice cream joint. All right, that is our North Star. The ball atop of 1 Times Square. That is the Walks on Wall Street North Star tonight. Now picture this, everybody. For those of you who've been rocking with us for the entire 2.5-hour live stream, we were on top of the Brooklyn Bridge looking at this building, and it looked like a mere speck. It looked like a little teeny nothing atop of the Brooklyn Bridge. But now we're right here. We pretty much walked the entire island of Manhattan. And now these buildings look a lot bigger than they did atop of the Brooklyn Bridge, didn't they? Yeah, Natalie's is a mere speck. Crazy, right? Hey, the short guy is here. Happy New Year to you. Wishing you a fantastic 2023 as we pass Bryant Park's Winter Village. There it is. Hey, Western Mass Dave, thank you for joining us tonight. Hopefully your 2023 is off to a fantastic start. So there it is. It looks like it's halfway. It doesn't look like it's all the way at the top. But it looks good. I give it a 10 out of 10. Hey, VS. Love that. Just put a big screen in front of your treadmill and walk with Tom. Hey, dude, that would be awesome. I think we should try to do that, right? Throw us up on the Peloton. Are you allowed to do that? Who here has a Peloton? Are you allowed to go to YouTube on your Peloton? How awesome would that be if we could create like a separate Discord, a Walks on Wall Street separate Discord to track our steps for the new year. So maybe every time we go live, plug in your headphones, bang out, 1,000, 2,000 steps around your block, and just listen to the stream. I think that'd be kind of cool. Imagine how many steps we would bang out and how much more motivated everybody would be if we do this as a collective to bang out the miles, get in the steps, increase the mileage every night, or if you're on a bike. I think that's a pretty good idea. Walking, right? Many people think, walking is not that good of exercise, but it's the best form of low, what is the word I'm looking for? My trainer back in my college days would use this all the time. Low resistance exercise you could do, right? Running sometimes puts a lot of stress and strain on your joints, but walking is a very low impact, I should say, exercise you could do. Low intensity, that is what I'm looking at. That is exactly the word. The LT Prod is like maybe Walks from Wall Street will be in the metaverse someday. Oh God. You never know, who knows? This is technically, I guess, metaverse. I mean, think about how crazy this is. All right, now that we're headed towards Times Square, this is what I always think about, right? Think about the vast acceleration of technology in this world. Here's the NASDAQ, by the way. So just think about this, everybody. Only 20 years ago, right? Just 20 years ago, what we're doing right now, it didn't even exist, right? It couldn't even be physically possible to do, right? And in just 20 years later, we're able to do a live stream, live podcast, and have discussions with everybody from all over the world about the financial markets at zero cost to everybody involved, right? So think about where the world's gonna be in the next 20 years. I mean, the advancement cycle is just gonna be insane. So always try to lean bullish. Technology is severely changing the way we live. And it's only compounding. So always try to lean bullish. All right, we made it. Finally made it. West 43rd Street, behind all the skateboarders here. Let me try to check out what kind of boards they got. They're actually really nice.
We made it! We made
Hey,
it!
nice. Happy New Year, man. One of those guys have like a really nice board, by the way. All right, so we'll turn around, we'll see the 2023 and the ball, and we'll cut you guys loose. I think those guys are holding a World Cup trophy. All right, here we go. 2023 team, thank you for spending your New Year's Eve night, or I should say New Year's Day night with me on Walks on Wall Street. Thank you so much. I will see you all tomorrow here live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you enjoyed tonight's live stream. Wishing everybody, your family, your friends, a blessed 2023. Go out and rip its face off. We'll see you guys later. Andy, Casey, thank you so much. Marcy M, Bagels and Walks, Pineapple Water, Tom, Time Lapse, Susanna Q4, Richard Vogel, CVG, Dr. Longas, Mike C, Touring Different Places, Ted C, Makeup, Sally, Disney cast member, Disney Hatch, Nina, Dusty Cole, Sam Mangano, Trevor, DM, John, ATC, and have a good night to the Mighty Bull wherever you are, because there is always a bull market somewhere and you just need to know where to look. I'll see you guys later.